now entering the horror section.
Hello and welcome back to the Horror Sanctum podcast. I'm Jay with John, Kellen, and TJ. And this week we're joined by director and composer Brent McCorkle. Brent, welcome to the show and thanks for taking some time with us.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So I think your probably most recognizable work so far has been this year's film, Jesus Revolution. I'm going to tap. Yes, I did say Jesus Revolution on this show. Which is obviously a Christian-based film that's gotten a lot of traction this year. I've heard a lot of good things about it. So before we dive into the movie that you picked, which is not The Passion of the Christ or Jesus Revolution, take a second just to tell everybody how you got into filmmaking and composing and all that.
Yeah, I'll do this very short version of it. I was like a typical adrift artist. It's really interesting. People have, obviously different opinions about being raised religious or raised in the church. And as people are leaving the church in droves, it's pretty interesting because, say what you want about the religion. It is kind of this interesting community that I think a lot of people end up missing or craving when they leave the church. They're like looking for their spot to belong. And so I feel lucky in some ways being raised in a very religious environment that I was nurtured as an artist. And I didn't really honestly realize how artistic I was. Because if you're a kid, they're going to throw you up on stage or have you play the xylophone or act in a play or sing on stage. For me, it was just very natural to me. So I ended up being a pretty decent piano player and pretty decent singer in that environment. And didn't really think much of it. Well, when I kind of got out from my parents' household and kind of lost my way, as we all do, and went on my own searches, I was actually an artist. I didn't realize it. So I switched majors 5 times. Thought about going into the military, thought about being a cop. I was going to be an anesthesiologist. I was pre-med. So I always try to encourage people in their 20s, man, your 20s are kind of to figure it out. So at 29, it clicked for me that I really wanted to try to have a film career. So I went to SMU in Dallas and studied a bunch of film classes and dropped out. So I'm still a college dropout, but from there, man, I was already married, had a mortgage, had kids, and it was rough, man. But I kind of launched into this starving artist quest to become the best filmmaker I could. And it was a little bit tough in Dallas, because there was nobody that wanted to make feature films like I did. So you look to the left and the right for your allies, and there really are none. So it was a pretty slow journey, pretty solitary journey. But I started making short films, man, and I would run out in the woods with my friends, and that's the most fun I ever had in my career. You hear a lot of people talk about that, but the most fun, the nostalgia that I'm trying to get back to, that feeling that I'm always going to try to get back to now in my pro career, is that feeling of running out, not knowing what you're doing into the woods with a borrowed camera that didn't have insurance on it. And like, you're literally like, you're probably skipping bills just so you can feed your crew. And, it was that starving artist, blue collar thing that I just love so much. So 50 shorts later, I started hitting and tracking in different film festivals and stuff. I actually made some horrors. I actually love the horror genre. I love fantasy. I love sci-fi. But in the midst of all that, someone saw a fantasy film that I did, a purgatory movie. And for some reason, they thought I'd be good at this little drama they wanted to do. That was, like kind of it had God in it, it's kind of a faith adjacent movie. And I had nothing going on. So they offered me this $2 million movie in 2012. And I was like, I'll take it, And so what that's done, it's been pretty interesting. But you do hear a lot of stories like this. But once you kind of go into the system, oftentimes you become relegated to you're known for a certain thing, and fairly or not, that's kind of what you end up known for. So yeah, a lot of the work that I've done has been in like the faith adjacent aspirational genre of film, and I really like it, man. I really do want, like everything I do, even the horror stuff I did, I really tried to bring some sort of spiritual thematic to it, but I generally try to think more in universal terms of how it hits. And so if you do decide to watch some of my movies, you'll definitely see some universal truths, like what is suffering, and where does compassion come from? What is empathy? What does a place to belong look like? So I try to bring like kind of my wider more generous viewpoints, I think, into these opportunities that I'm afforded in the faith space, which is very interesting because faith is in very much in keeping with what you would expect from a Hollywood genre. It has its own little things that you want to, little things you want to tick off, similar to a good horror film. And so, yeah, so we did Jesus Revolution. The last few pictures I worked on have been through Lionsgate, and yeah, man, I'm good. I do hope to get back to, what I'd always dreamed about doing was a high concept Hollywood career, and I really aspire to, like a Spielberg or even an M. Night Shyamalan, in ways where you see what they were trying to do. So M. Night Shyamalan did a ghost story, then he did a superhero movie, then he did a period piece, then he did a fantasy movie, then he did like an action, he moved through all the verticals of Hollywood high concept. And I would just really love to get back to that at some point. I love high concept. I try to bring more high concept into even dramas, so and horror is like the ultimate in high concept, I think, and so yeah, I love this genre, and I've worked in it before, and I would love to get back to it at some point.
Awesome. So are you an elevated horror guy, like A24 and like films that are smart that make you think?
I've never seen a bad A24 film. I've seen a couple of them that I personally didn't care for, but all of them have been like top shelf, just they curate things in a way that literally blows my mind. I love A24, and I think they're amazing. And I mean, I can only sing their praises. I think they were the first mini major to sign on to both of the strikes criteria to move forward. So A24 never missed a beat in these strikes because they're like, yeah, hey, whatever you guys need, we're in this together. I really applaud their culture, and I just applaud the actual stories that they approve to be made. So yeah, man, I mean, we could go on down the line.
Another conversation for another episode.
Yeah.
I've not seen an A24 movie that was bad either. I've seen some that were, I'm like, would I watch it again? Maybe a couple years, but just good stuff. So your pick was not an A24 film. Your pick, I think, was a Netflix exclusive, which was 2017's The Ritual, directed by David Bruckner. If you're unfamiliar, there are going to be spoilers in this episode, as usual. Again, like I said, you can catch it on Netflix. I won't spoil you on how we feel about it, but one of us at least says go watch it. He may or may not be speaking now. But the synopsis is reuniting after a tragic death of their friend. 4 college pals set out to hike through the Scandinavian wilderness. What could go wrong there? But a wrong turn leads them into a mysterious forest of Norse legend where an ancient evil exists and stalks them at every turn.
And boy, does it ever stalk them at every turn. Man, I didn't know what to expect with this movie. I know, I've known Brent somewhat for a number of years, enough to know that he has good taste in film. We have some similar taste when it comes to genre and stuff. So I trusted that I was in good hands with the recommendation from Brent. But you never know what you're going to get with these Netflix exclusives. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're just okay, and sometimes not so much. But this one, I have to say, over-delivered on my expectations. It is in the vein, I would say, of folk horror. Very much, it's kind of almost got a fairy tale kind of take bent to it, I would say, because you got the core, you start with a trauma, right? A trauma that affects this core group of guys, and it's very much a new take on kind of the bro movie, the bonding, the almost like the bro com, but it's not comedy, but it has a very similar setup. And then you get that traumatic thing where they lose one of their own, and then there's the question of who's responsible for it, people blaming themselves and having to wrestle through all that, and then going on the trip into the woods that they were planning with their friend, almost like a memorial thing to their friend. So they're bonded by their relationship to this their fallen brother, right? That they feel like they need to go into the woods, ascend to the mountains that he was interested in doing a group trip to. And of course, as most films where you go into the wilderness where you don't know with a group of friends, things go awry a little bit and you end up taking the shortcut, which never really pans out well, for at least for no one in horror films. You always stick to the path. Stick to the path, stick to it in daylight when if ever possible. Never go into the creepy cabin in the woods that you don't know who owns. You know, they do make a few of these concerted efforts, and probably poor decisions where, but you see their reasoning, right? It's when it's in the middle of the woods, they're already lost, they're in the dark, it's raining. Yeah, maybe take shelter in the abandoned cabin, you know. So they do, story-wise, at least they do have some reasoning for some of the things that they do. And the guy already hurt his leg, so he couldn't do the regular pass. So they did take care of story-wise reasonings for their poor decisions. It wasn't just the, oh, this looks like fun, you know, like some of the lower budget horror films of yesteryear sometimes have no logic. This, at least there's logical reasoning for all the choices that they make. So I appreciate that, as you know, as an aspiring writer myself. I always like it when I know I'm in good hands. I can see the logic behind their choices. But the thing I find the most interesting in this film is really, it's the main guy, I forget his name, but it's the main character's, it's his struggle with his guilt, you know, kind of like if you're talking about, I mean, and you could see this as an elevated horror and it could live in that world. It's kind of like how people say the Babadook is really an exploration of a mother's grief and loss of her husband, and living into that, and that whole and external manifestation of what that wrestle is. This, you could say, is the main guy's wrestling with his internal wrestle with the guilt of, is he the reason for the loss of his friend at the beginning of the film? And this really cool monster that I guess is really based in Norse mythology, really plays into, like, they know your thoughts, and specifically it seems like it's almost like a Freddy Krueger, like a dream demon thing, because it seems to attack people's minds when they're most vulnerable in their sleep, as we saw in several scenes where people were doing weird things in their sleep. And
so this, the Jotun or Jotun is what this one is. It does prey on grief. That's like one of its main things, is it preys on people's grief.
okay, so see, so that was even more masterful choices for the filmmakers. And that makes sense, because this guy is grieving, he feels guilt, and that's, I mean, he's probably putting off whatever that evil Norse god in the woods, pheromones, that they love, that stuff, man. He was putting that stuff out, and he was buying it, because he's like, yes, you're my kind of guy. I'm going to mess with you. I'm going to take you right back to the convenience store where you saw your buddy die. And I really loved the direction of how the filmmakers chose to show, like, these half constructed, you know, like the walls in the convenience store just materializing out of the woods when he's trying to run away from the monster, because you can't run away from your own grief and trauma, right? You have to face it head on. But, you know, Brent and I were talking the other day about, I think there's a way to read some subtext into this too, because once he gets to what they think is some kind of safety for a while at this village of basically the cult of this that worships this god, is you realize that they're all marked by this creature. They've all been attacked by the creature, but the creature decided not to kill them. And I think that's because all those people were people that he could really manipulate because of that grief and that trauma thing. So I think he's choosing his people to be his slaves and his followers, that kind of thing. And it could be a really interesting allegory for toxic religion and how cult leaders manipulate their flock and all those people, and they couldn't die, right? They're literally bearing his mark, which if you really want to get into biblical stuff like mark of the beast, it is a beast. And they're basically living in this purgatory hell because they can't die a natural death once they have been marked by this beast. I think there's a lot you could kind of infer there, but I really enjoyed this film. I don't typically like a lot of like quote unquote creature features unless they're kind of goofy in the B movie kind of sense and are played for laughs more than serious. This is a very serious movie and a creature movie. I think they show just the right amount of the creature where you don't really see the whole entirety of it until the very end. And I think that's how all the best serious creature features are. And yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised with it. I will return to it at some point, although this was my first watch. So I will pass to the next guy.
All right, so Brent, tell us why this was one of the films that you picked for us to talk about tonight.
I just think all the pieces are there. It's a mythic journey. So you have you have kind of the inciting incident, then you have this diverging road, and you have in this particular case, the Threshold Guardians, which it's their group. So they have that debate about, no, we should just keep going. And they're always talking about getting back on the right path. And they know they kind of messed up trying to take the shortcut. I think it's really fascinating that the creature chooses to kill off all of his friends, I think, to compound his grief. But what's amazing too is I love things that come really strong with theme and undertone. And so I think the themes of this film are very strong. As a filmmaker myself, I think they did a lot with not much. So there was a ton of B-movie tropes in here. Like you had just a lot of off-camera sound design that was so freaky and so amazing. I just loved how the creature sounded, and it was always in the periphery. You would hear it out in the woods, and I just think the design of the creature is amazing. And then the other thing I loved is I was born in 73, so when you think of Jaws, how they, Spielberg ended up having trouble with the submersible, we all know the story. So what he really wanted was this over-the-top shark like coming out and eating everybody through the whole movie. He wanted that submersible shark just to be all the way through the movie. When it was breaking, they had to improvise. And what he ended up doing was setting the template for a good creature horror, where it really comes out and expresses itself in the third act, and you have the final big battle, And so I think for me, thinking back in the last 15 years, I can't really think of a creature that I loved more than this one in 15 years. When you fully see it in that one shot where it stands up and exalts itself and like peacocks in front of him, like you're gonna worship me. Like, look how awesome I am. Like, that was just one of the most incredible visuals I've seen in a long time. It was like things like 35 feet tall, So yeah, man, I loved the creature aspect. And I also just loved how really contained how contained of a story it was. I mean, you basically have four guys in the woods and slowly going crazy. But again, just the B-movie stuff, like what's upstairs, or what state do these guys awaken in? They've been like tormented in their dreams, and they wake up in these like crazy different states and screaming stuff or like talking in gibberish or whatever. There's just a lot of really cool B-movie things that allowed it to keep its feet on the ground. But I thought the acting was good. I thought the script was amazing. Again, all the off-camera stuff, and then literally you can hear them on a budget going, how many VFX shots can we have? And then when we get close on the monster, what is that going to be? And so you have a trick that I love to do, and I want to do it even more. But you have on the close-ups, you have practical. So it's a puppet or a guy in a suit or whatever. And then when you pull back, you've got, for the big scale, you've got CGI. So I think they juiced their budget. I tried to research and get back to it because I was told at some point by maybe someone who knew that it was a $5 million film. And I could not verify that online, but dude, if they did that movie for $5 million, that's like, that is a feat of ingenuity. And to have the deconstructed convenience store sets in the woods, there was just a lot of thought behind it and a lot of restraint, I feel like. And I feel like they did a lot with not much. And I loved how it evolved and kept getting bigger and growing in scale until finally you end up like at the village for the final battle. So as he's losing his friends in this, he's seeing kind of the final totality of this thing's realm and what it's really after and what it wants to do. I also thought too, what was really brilliant is I think somebody in South Korea could turn the sound off and watch this and be like, totally know what's going on. Like it's really amazing. Just the visual storytelling, I think that we're losing. It just works almost as a silent film. Like there's hardly any dialogue that you need in this movie. You see that the guys are cross with each other and getting sideways, but like think about the guy like twisting his knee. It's like it's also visual. You can follow the story visually with the sound off, and I think that in and of itself is a pretty awesome hat trick. And they really told a cinematic story that I was very appreciative of.
Yeah, well, I guess time for Black Cloud to show up.
That's okay.
To the party. Didn't like it. Didn't like it. And it's not because of against anything that you just said. Cinematography wise, it's great. The acting's good. It just feels like it's been done before and been done so many times now that it's almost boring. At least it felt that way for me. The impetus of them going on the trip felt forced to me. I feel like, so you have the situation, there's the guys in there, they're going to rob the place. They've got the guy there, the other one's hiding. In what situation, when there's guys with weapons, are you going to jump out and try to save the day? So I feel like if they wanted to make that seem more like maybe it was his fault, if they'd have made him run away, but him just hiding there in panic and fear just felt like a normal response in that situation. So this guy right here, Glasses, can catch these hands for being so blunt about it's your fault that he died. It wasn't his fault. I mean, I'm sorry, Jay is my best friend in the whole wide world. If
I was just about to pause you and ask you, would you not rescue me if I was in that situation?
No, but I would give you the best eulogy that has ever been given. I would lie through my teeth about how amazing you were in your last seconds, but my ass would be right out the door because they have weapons. What am I going to do with my flesh mitts when they have violent weapons? I'm not come out swinging. I'm already 10 feet away. By the time I get up to him, it was thwack, and now it's a double funeral. And now there's twice as many. There's at least 4 people now that are sad. Instead of just 2.
Who's chill?
So that felt like it wasn't developed enough to be meaningful to me. Like I feel like in that situation, I feel like every one of those friends would have done the same thing. Nobody was running out to save him when they're scared anyway. I guess another thing that I immediately thought of, and this is just, it just cracked me up, when he gets finally to the ridge and he's found the way out and the other 2 friends are still kind of in the woods. Boy, white people just be white people in no matter where they are in the world, right? Because you've got the one friend that's kind of gimped from hurting his knee. You've got the other friend who's kind of helping him along, and then the one friend has, hey guys, here it is, here's our way out, we've done it, and the other 2 are nowhere to be seen. Why? Because they heard a noise. Screw that. I don't care if the noise was an ice cream truck giving out $100 bills. We've been in the woods, we've seen our friend disemboweled and hung from the trees, we've seen signs of possible witchcraft. we stayed in a cabin and all had nightmares. I'm out. I don't care what that sound was. That sound can chase me as I run as fast as humanly possible over that ridge and out. So I just remember seeing that scene and thinking, boy, it doesn't matter where you are. White people just white people in movies. I guess that's our horror movie trope of what we do. Like I said, it feels like it's all been done before. I will say it reminded me a lot of the Blair Witch, but things in the Blair Witch that I hated, they did better here. We get to see the monster. The monster was absolutely terrifying. Whatever nightmare fuel created that in mythology, that person probably had some really bad stuff happen to them at some point that they dreamed up, half man, half elk, half tree, whatever that was. Absolutely terrifying. But like I said, it just feels like it's all been done. I don't know how else to explain it. Nothing in the movie drew me in until the last 20 minutes. Did I miss something? Why did he start going ham and killing everybody? Because weren't they all like part of the tribe? And then all of a sudden this Norse Wendigo or whatever you called it just starts deciding to murder everybody. I don't know. I guess I wasn't paying a close enough attention as to why he just decided to start killing everybody.
Wendigo's gonna Wendigo. I don't know.
I did like the fact that when he gets the gun and shoots the guy and then shoots the thing, like usually in those situations, the people don't have the wherewithal to do anything. They kind of freeze. How many times have you seen in horror movies where the killer's 20 feet away from them, they've got a gun, they're pointing it at them, and somehow they don't think to pull the trigger in the 20 feet as the guy comes near them and then stabs them or rips the gun away and kills them. So at least he saw the guy or saw the beast and was like, oh, okay. It did nothing. But I mean, at least he had the wherewithal to actually shoot it and didn't miss. I did enjoy the ending. I did enjoy the scene with Glasses getting murked. I guess he got stabbed against something while the creature was holding his face, but thinking it was his wife, seeing the illusion that it was his wife, and then getting, suffocated to death and then stabbed to choke on his own blood, because screw that guy throughout the entire movie. I couldn't stand him. I was so happy when he died. It was obviously the most refreshing part of the whole film. But yeah, was not a fan. Would I watch this movie again? Absolutely not, unless I had to. So
Jesus Christ, the smiling face assassin has struck again, everybody. All right, well, we already smashed into one wall with you. Let's smash into the other one. John?
So David Bruckner has got an interesting career. This past year, he did the Hellraiser remake, which I was actually a fan of. I really liked it. He had been working on...
Enjoyed the Hellraiser remake. That was really good.
Yeah, it really was. And he had been in development for a Friday the 13th film for a while. It was a shot on video 80s style Friday film, right? And it kind of fell through. I read the script and it was actually great. So I'm a fan of him. I do like his films. That being said, I didn't know anything about this movie. I saw it on Netflix, like previews of it, never watched it. I can honestly say this is one of the dumbest movies I've ever seen. The script is, pardon my French, fucking stupid. The script is...
What the fuck are y'all talking about? Did we watch the same movie?
That's what I'm thinking. So,
Right.
Okay. The script
We've turned into talking about the ritual into turning it into the bitual.
That's the
Like,
sequel.
This whole...
See yourself out after that one, please.
Well, the whole script is... Everything about it is illogical, first off. Like, okay, so... First off, let me just say, don't go hiking in Sweden. Don't go buy Swedish fish in Sweden. Don't go hanging out in Sweden. Don't go to Sweden, right? Like, it's like every movie about Sweden with horror tells you don't go there, right? I get the whole idea of trauma and regret sticking with you, even though they beat it over your head so many times in this movie. Like, I get it. Like, every time he sees something, he sees the convenience store. I get it. I get it, right? This is the thing about elevated horror that gets on my nerves, is it pushes it right in your face as if we're like 10-year-olds and we don't understand subtext. We get it. That doesn't make it a good movie just because you throw something out all the time. Romero, Carpenter, all these guys were way better at doing that without throwing this in everyone's face. because they were better filmmakers, in my opinion. That being said, everyone in this movie is annoying. All of the characters. The lead actor, Ray Spall, great actor. I love him in Hot Fuzz. I love him in most things. Yeah, he just kind of turns into a crazy man at the end. You know, he's killing the Swedish cult members. He's walking out the creature, what is the Jotun, Vagan, Magen, whatever.
Uten. Uten is the way it's pronounced.
Uten. So that's walking. He's got a gun. Okay, he sees it. The creature does not see him, and he shoots at it. At what point in this entire movie makes you think, okay, let me take this 50-year-old rifle and shoot it at this creature that's a god? That's a good idea, right? Versus just
first of
running.
all, demigod.
Okay,
And
demigod.
if with your back against the wall, you're going to do whatever you think you can to survive, right?
Well, you're going to run. If you see
Well, that
that,
too.
you're going to run. So, also they're hiking in the woods and they don't have cell phones. They don't tell anyone where they are. Like, what is this, the 90s? Like, everything about that. So this movie is kind of like if you took Blair Witch and then you put in Without a Paddle and then you put in Deliverance. But I'll tell you what this movie should have been. The concept is there. This should have been the English remake of Deliverance.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Wendigo thing should have raped one of them at the end.
No.
Tell him to scream like a
he
Wendigo.
is essentially saying that, though.
Well, no, like this should have been, the whole idea of the friend being there when his friend died in the convenience store, and then they're going on a trip. That's a perfect story to do something like a modern Deliverance, right? Where you're putting elements and you're fighting off against whether it's hillbillies or someone crazy. Like, that's a great idea, in my opinion. This is just like, when you start throwing all this stuff out and the way it's illogical, I was like, okay, like I'm out at that point. I mean, the creature design was good. I'll give you that. It was a cool design. The acting was fine. I can't say it was bad acting. I don't know. I just feel like everybody in this movie made a lot of really stupid decisions. And I will say this, a movie that is not the same, but deals with something maybe in that vein is called Troll Hunter from 2010. That's a great movie.
That is a good movie.
That is
So
how
was
you
this
do a
movie,
scary
but that's also a good movie.
Oh, this is a terrible movie. This movie is like, when I say terrible, I would watch Men over this movie. Like, I will never
That's
watch
not
this
saying
movie.
shit. That's watching two great films back to back.
Right?
And Men is not a good movie either. Men is like bad, but it's kind of like which turd smells, better, I guess you could say. So
is that a saying? I've never heard that.
I think at least
Well,
Men was original. This just
Exactly.
didn't feel original.
Exactly. And there's nothing, like you guys were talking about all these ideas and pulling out. There's nothing to be pulled from this movie. It's just bad filmmaking. It's a bad script. It's bad filmmaking. We can call it what it is. So yeah, that's my thoughts overall. I'm curious to see what you guys thought for ratings.
Wow. So I expected you and possibly Kellen to not like it, but to the degree that you've torn it down, I'm appalled, and I'm a little shocked, and frankly, I'm a little offended. I think this is a great movie. I think that, so first of all, it's not a Wendigo, it's a Jotun, which is from Norse mythology. It's a bastard child of Loki. Who would have thought Tom Hiddleston could have produced something so ugly as the creature in this film?
So
But
he
my biggest
banged like
takeaway-
a giant elk at some point, apparently.
Who knows? He was a frost giant. Who knows what he did? But the biggest takeaway I had was the creature itself. I love it. So I thought it was a Wendigo the first time until I did some research and read, Wendigo is what's in Hannibal, the series. I don't know if you guys seen that, but he keeps seeing like a black elk or a black human figure with elk ears. It reminded me of this a lot. I love the creature design. What I loved about it the most is they're in this forest in the woods. You can't see anything but branches. And the best part of the film, I think, were almost like jump scares, because you see them walking and you're just looking at the woods, and all of a sudden something shifts and moves, and that creature's following them because he blends in so well. I love that idea. He was truly terrifying. And cults like that, like that believe ancient things like that, and like Wicker Man, pagan stuff, all that stuff creeps me out anyways. Like, it's a very terrifying idea because that stuff exists in real life, you know?
The trees, the trees.
I hate you so much right now. For you, it is fresh on Rotten Tomatoes on both the critic and audience side. So, but another thing, and this is something that only, you know, I can pull away from this film, is it deals a lot with trauma. And I understand completely what you guys are saying. Am I pissed at Kellen because he wouldn't try to save me if I was being held up at a liquor store? Absolutely. But I understand. But is it better to hide in the corner knowing your friend knows you're there? Is it better just just bolt out the door and he watch you run away? Which one's worse in that situation? Like, they're both terrible. And we don't know their relationship. And even though this is not reciprocated, if I saw Kellen get murdered in front of me, I would be traumatized for a very long time, even though he doesn't share the same. But
I would be traumatized. I'm just not going out with you.
TJ, don't let him write my eulogy. You're hearing, if you're listening to this, do not let Kellen write my eulogy.
I'll do an edit pass on it.
But it was just that trauma aspect that I really enjoyed about the film too, because while it was terrifying because we have this crazy cult, we have this Norse demigod, we also have that emotion, and for a demigod that feeds off negative energy and guilt, I would be fucked if this guy came after me. Like, I'm 100% in this cult, I'm front row center. Like, I have all that in me, which is why I connected with this film a little bit, because yeah, your friend died, you guys think he made a huge deal out of this and it was nothing, but like, we don't know that relationship, we don't know what was already inside him. So I clinched to that part too, and how this is a film about trauma and trying to overcome it, which I think essentially the main guy does at the end. He lets go, he screams, like he's releasing all that energy. And I don't know if, like, I have two theories on the end. I don't know if it's because he let all that go, the creature's just like, okay, I'm out, you're done, I don't see this trauma anymore, see you later. Or if the creature itself is confined to the woods, like is he confined to a certain area and he can't go past the tree line?
I think
See,
he's confined to
that's
plot
what
holes.
I originally thought. The plot holes.
It was like him relieving his trauma.
I'm gonna throw both of y'all in a plot hole. No. But all those aspects, this is my second time watching. Like I said, I watched it very close to when it originally came out, and I liked it then, and I feel like I liked it better this time. But hey, that's why we're here, and I actually love it when we don't all agree. I'm still disappointed in you guys, but so we'll go around one more time. We'll give our favorite kill of the movie, and we'll give
And
our
take my
ranking.
opinion with a grain of salt, because right now I look like I'm the poster child for a Chris Hansen episode of To Catch a Predator. So
Get a wine cooler. You're not wrong. So let's go around, give our favorite kill, and give our rating out of 5 stars. TJ.
Well, probably a favorite kill is when you see that first guy just splayed in the trees and his guts falling out, and you don't really expect to see that. Even though you don't really see the kill, you see the aftermath of it. So, I mean, I give it a solid 3.5. I'll probably watch it again. In some ways, I actually like this more than Men, because I feel like it tackles more subtextually. You can read more into it. Or
Probably
choose
easier
not
to watch on repeat also.
Yeah, there's less butthole bursts, which is always helpful for the rewatches.
All right,
about you, Brent?
Yeah, I'd give it a 4. And my favorite kill is it's kind of offbeat, but it's all of the tribal elders that they had to move upstairs because they had decomposed so bad. So when he like burns all those, I thought that was really cool. Those practical puppets and stuff, I thought it was pretty amazing. So when he burns all those in the upstairs, I thought that was a pretty amazing sequence. And then a couple things I would maybe bring back to the top is, like, everybody experiences life differently. So to me, in the open, I didn't take it that the filmmakers were saying that it was his fault. But like for me, when I have experienced trauma or like something bad has happened, I think I ruminate back I think a lot of people do. I ruminate back and go, did I do everything I could have done? We just had to put an animal down on the farm, and I've ruminated on it a lot. Like, did we do everything we could? And so I think a lot of people do process life and experience it that way. So for me, I guess I had a different take at the open. Was I didn't think the filmmakers were trying to say it was his fault at all. Humans go into fight, flight, or freeze, and that's just what happened to him in that moment. But I think a lot of people would question if that was their fault. I know I would in that situation. And then the other thing I would say is I think they did handle the cell phone issue. I think they lost bars, and they did tell people they were checking in, but because they took the shortcut and they ended up stranded, they knew that people were going to call in and report them missing. So I think they tried to handle that, at least in the dialogue, in the exposition. And then the third thing was he didn't go on a bloodbath killing at the end. I think he only killed that one girl because she looked up at him and she wasn't supposed to. He didn't go on a slaughter fest and kill all the villagers. I think that was just one. I think it was just one person, and she committed a sin by looking up at his beauty or whatever. So it got a little crazy, but when he's holding, I think in that shot behind Jay, that's after he laid it down. That's after he got shot, but he's picking that girl up and jacking her up because she looked up and she wasn't supposed to. So I guess those are the three things I would maybe defend the film for a little bit. But
I
overall,
like what you said about the store.
Yeah, overall, those are nitpicky, things that, I mean, they probably don't sway you guys' opinion too much, but just reacting to your thoughts on it for sure.
Your thoughts on the opening where he gets shot. I didn't think about it that way, but that does make sense. He could have internalized it on his own. The only thing that made me lead the other way was just because his friend kept looking at him like, bro, like, what are you going to do? So, but I like that take on it too, for sure. All right, Kellen.
Yeah, everything Brent just said completely changed my mind. 4-star review. Great movie. Would watch. Would recommend.
Wow.
No, I get everything. Everything he says makes perfect sense.
All right, John.
I still
John, you're
enjoy
next.
the movie.
John.
A 2. I give it a 2. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but like I said, I'm not going to watch it again. As far as favorite kills, though, I already talked about it in mine. When Glasses gets straight murked, and we get to watch it happen. Because like I said, I hated that character. So it was satisfying that he finally died. I think he should have died sooner because, like I said, he's bummed up with the knee and was a total dick for most of the movie. So
He's definitely the Franklin of the bunch,
So just to clarify, both, I believe, Kellen and John, you both like Terrifier 2 more than this film.
I did too.
well, I love Terrifier 2. So
I love that movie. I love The Ritual, but I would watch Terrifier 2 next. First. All right, John,
Okay.
bring that average a little bit lower.
So there's a lot of things in this movie that could be really good. I do think the story there, I didn't mind the opening. Like I said, I think they could have used that for a different film. I really think that could have been a more realistic, like Deliverance type film. I just think the script is so dumb. There's so many dumb moments in this film. The script is dumb. I appreciate they're trying to use trauma, but it's beaten over the head too much. And it's very uneven the way they use it. Best kill, I don't know about kill. They were all pretty decent kills, but the thing that made me laugh the most was when he punches the old lady at the end. That was just so sudden, he like hits her. I did laugh at that. That was pretty cool. Overall rating, oh God. Like, personally, it's like a 1, but I'll give it a 2 out of 5. I will never watch it again, but I'd say 2 out of 5, honestly, for sure.
You're just so kind. So,
Hey, stick to your ones if that's what you do.
It's not. That's just me being ridiculous. I'll give it a 2. 2 is fair.
Okay.
so we got 2, we got 2, we got 3.5, we got a 4, we got another 4. I gave it 4. Like I said, I love this movie a lot.
I think I need to use the calculator on that one. So we got
It's a
I think
3.1.
it was a 3.1.
Don't you dare try
I got
to bring it up to a 4.
My favorite kill was kind of the beginning in the store, just because that just kind of set off everything, and you knew, going in, this was going to be kind of hardcore. I like that. It was brutal. And whenever there's something brutal like that straight out the gate, it always keeps in the back of my mind. So that was my favorite kill. We gave this one an average of 3. Not too shabby considering the anchors we had. Okay, so that's a wrap on this episode. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to wherever you're listening to this podcast. Follow us on Instagram. If you have Amazon Music, there's a playlist featuring music from all our films. We'll get some Jesus Revolution soundtrack on there too to match with this episode. And we'll see you next week. I'm not quite sure what episode we're doing next week, so it'll just be a surprise for all of us. So Brent, thank you again for taking some time with us. If you just want to take a second to let everybody know where they can find your work, your films, if you have anything coming up.
Oh yeah, just find me on Instagram. It's just Brent McCorkle. I'm doing a couple more Lionsgate movies in the Fate space next, so we're concepting those, and Lionsgate's been a really cool partner, and I'm just gonna keep doing stuff with them on the next couple movies. So
is it the next Saw film?
No, but my executive actually broke Saw series. He's the one who bought it. So yeah, one of my
nice.
executives bought Saw and bought John Wick. I think John Wick was shot. The first John Wick was shot as an independent film, and they brought it into the fold. And so yeah, he's a franchise whisperer, very smart. So yeah, Jason,
good friend to have.
Yes, for sure.
Well, thanks again. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. Signing off, I'm Jay with Brent, John, Kellen, and TJ. And until next time,
Keep it spooky.
Welcome.
Ask me no questions, I'll tell you no lies. I'm gonna be oh! I was just sitting here enjoying myself. Are you enjoying the movie? Well, I hate that for you. Anyway, in this segment, we're going to have a little bit of fun. In this segment, I'm going to answer questions that you send to me. Not necessarily medical questions, just about any question you can think of. And I'm going to answer them right here on the show, straight from the heart, with the most honest answer I can give. Doesn't that sound like fun? Well, who asked you? All right, let's go ahead. All right, the first one. Oops. Oh my goodness. I need to put my readers on. There we go. All right. Dr. Tingler, in what state was Abraham Lincoln born in? Well, like the rest of us, naked and screaming. Oh, let's get another one. Dr. Tingler, I really need to know, why was Daniel thrown into the lion's den? For jaywalking in Jerusalem. Oh, these are fun. Dr. Tingler, what do you call peppers, onions, tomatoes, and sometimes pineapple on a big long stick? Oh, Marcherie. Ow! If you have any questions that you'd like to send to me, all you need to do is send them to the address that you're going to see at the end of this segment. Alrighty? Let's go on back and enjoy the conclusion of tonight's film. The whatever the hell it is from some hill somewhere. Let's go back.
This one's different. Trust me.
So, we're just.
Put the gun down before you kill someone.
Teenage Girl's Diary.
Hello and welcome to another Dollar Store Drive-In. I'm your host, Laura.
I'm Joel.
You forgot to put your hat on.
Oops. That's right.
And we're the Newly Dads.
We are.
Welcome to another show. I'm sure you're super excited to be here. We are super excited to be here.
Why do you sound not very excited to be here?
I'm super excited. And it's because we watched a movie this week called The Disappointments Room.
She's just jumping right into it.
I know.
If you are new to Dollar Store Drive-In, this is our weekly chat show where my lovely wife and I discuss a movie that we have found either at like someplace like the Dollar Tree, Dollar Store, Dollar General, Dollar Bill, y'all, the side of the road. Somebody gave it to us. Somebody said, "Hey, you want to watch my movie?"
That actually happened.
That has happened. Anywhere, everywhere. If you've got a movie you want us to discuss, we'd be happy to talk about it. But it has to be under $5 as far as, you know, what we pay for it or don't pay for it. It typically is a genre film, horror, sci-fi, thriller, etc. And something we haven't seen before.
Yes.
And The Disappointments Room here met all of those qualifications.
Yes, it was something we have not seen before.
It was under $5. I got it from the Dollar Tree. And it is a horror movie.
Ish.
It's horror, Jason. It's more horror than
More
the
thriller.
some of the previous episodes.
Yeah.
Um,
And if this is your first time watching us, and it is 6:30 p.m.
Central
On-
Standard Time.
on Wednesday night, you can come talk to us in the chat on YouTube.
Yep. Currently, the show is still being streamed through YouTube. There is things happening where the show will eventually have a new home outside of Roku. But at the moment, you can watch it there. And the nice thing about that is that if you go back into the archives on the Tingler Television YouTube channel, you can watch prior week's episodes and just stream the whole day or just part of it and just fast forward to our episode.
Yep.
You have that option. But if you want to watch it live with us, you have to watch it as it happens in its first broadcast on Wednesday.
Usually it's at 6:30. Sometimes it's at 7. They kind of play around with the time sometimes. So just, you know, we'll usually notify you to let you know like what time it is. And,
As soon as we know, we try to let you know, but sometimes we don't know till the last minute either. So,
Yeah.
but anyway,
But yeah, so we watched The Disappointments Room this week. I'm going to read the synopsis. The door to heart-pounding terror swings wide open in this gripping psychological thriller based on true events. Looking for a fresh start, Dana, aka Kate Beckinsale, David, Mel Rado, and their 5-year-old son move from the big city to rural southern mansion in need of restoration. But the young family's dream home quickly becomes a chilling nightmare when Dana discovers a hidden room in the attic, unleashing unexplainable events that test her sanity and slowly reveal shocking secrets from the past. That's it. So, yeah, The Disappointments Room.
I'd say that's an appropriate title. Well, I mean, there's a disappointment room in it.
Yeah, it says some mysteries should not be unlocked.
And if you are not familiar with the concept, just before we, because when they say it's based on a true event or true story or what, I don't think it's like a specific, like this happened, this to this family.
To these people, right?
Right. I think they're just referring to the fact that disappointment rooms did exist at one time.
And maybe there was somebody.
Maybe the story is loosely based on a
person
situation that happened. I don't know.
Laura, somebody.
But so they had these rooms in these houses where they would put the family members that were
mentally ill or physically handicapped,
or had some sort of deformity, something that would make them a blight on the family or a whatever.
Back then, like we're talking about like
correct.
1800s.
We're not saying this. We're just saying this is what was
Right.
believed at the time by some.
And they would put these people in that room, and then they would not let them out when the company was over or what have you.
That was where they lived, essentially.
Horrible. Yeah.
And so this movie is about her finding one of those places that is haunted.
So she's seeing visions and stuff.
And right, so she's kind of getting a backstory of what happened and why things are the way they are, and the disappointment room in her house.
Yes.
So,
all right. Well, let's watch the assemblage of clips known as a trailer, and then you guys can see what we're talking about ourselves.
and then we'll come back and we will dig into this room of disappointments.
Yes. We'll be right back.
Ready for your new house? This is a new beginning.
Hello?
What?
Of course.
You okay?
Yeah. Just this room's not on the floor plans.
Dan, you got that look that concerns me.
Don't get sick again, Mommy.
There's no one else here.
I'm scared. Oh my God.
And we're back. Shaggy has joined us.
Stretching. He's so, what'd you think of the trailer?
Yeah. Was there any fun things that Joel inserted into it?
We forgot to talk about the trailer before the trailer.
Oh, yeah. Well, it still popped up.
It was there, but
And I think it's back.
oh no.
I always mess with him with the trailer.
Bye trailer, go away.
Yeah. See you.
All right. So I have notes as usual. on my notes, I wrote things about. So I drew some pictures. Got a ghost, a pumpkin,
Ooh, a flat
key.
pumpkin. Why is he so flat?
He's not flat.
He looks squat.
There's a lightning bolt, because I'll explain that later, and a hammer, because in the movie it's hammer time.
But not in a good way.
No. We'll get to that. Yeah. So The Disappointments Room is from 2016, currently sitting at the 3.9 out of 10 on the Internet Movie Database. This was directed by DJ Caruso, Wiki, who also co-wrote with another person. DJ Caruso is known for directing such films as Disturbia. Probably know that one. Not the song. The movie with
that guy.
That kid. Forgot his name all of a sudden.
Yep.
Taking Lives.
Shia LaBeouf?
No.
It was like a kid like
he might
him,
have
though.
been. He might have been in it as a secondary character. No, but the main character was it Devon Sawa? No.
No, I think it was Shia LaBeouf.
It was not Shia LaBeouf in Disturbia. All right. We're taking a
Just
quick pause.
keep talking.
Why?
Because you have things to read.
Wait, I do have things to read, but now you've brought this up, so now we have to look. Because otherwise the audience will be severely disappointed in us. Because
Or you could just look it up and then throw it on there.
Which is what I normally would do, but right now because my
we're
phone
fighting
was
about
literally right here.
And we're fighting
I'm
over
like,
it.
I'm gonna take a look. This stars hold on. Oh, that's not it. That's the writing credits. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna put this away.
Because I was right. Wasn't I?
I was right.
Why is that a good thing that I know that who stars in Disturbia?
It's a movie that actually has pretty good.
Yeah,
like people
I didn't hate it.
think of it fondly.
Oh, I liked it.
He also
It was like Rear Window.
Right. Was known. He also directed Taking Lives, which is the Angelina Jolie movie.
Oh yeah.
And Shut In, which is a fairly recent Naomi Watts film. One that's been on my list to maybe watch at some point because I like Naomi Watts. As far as writing is concerned, he is known for writing a film called Standing Up, which is you watch sitting down, so there's the irony there. And a film called Redeeming Love.
Oh, he wrote that?
Apparently.
Yeah.
This was also co-written with a very weird co-author, Wentworth Miller. If you know Wentworth Miller, do you know who that is?
It sounds familiar.
Did you ever watch Prison Break?
No.
He was in some horror movies and stuff.
I used to watch a show called Wentworth.
No. He's a handsome fella. He's an actor primarily, but he co-wrote this film and Stoker, which was Rooney Mara, which is a movie that's about Bram Stoker or something to do with vampires or something.
Cool.
Been on my list, but we haven't watched it yet. But yeah, Wentworth Miller, if you saw him, you know what he... I'll put his picture up here for those of you who don't know. But anyway, this stars one, Kate Beckinsale, who was known for The Underworlds, which ironically enough, we were just talking about Michael Sheen, not Martin Sheen. Martin Sheen was not in the Underworld film. Michael Sheen, on our previous episode, because he was in 3 of the Underworld films. Kate Beckinsale was in all but 1 of the Underworld films.
He's very handsome.
Because she is Celine. Anyway, she was also in Vacancy, which we've had
she was also
separately watched or discussed on several occasions because it's a film that is far better than it should have been with Luke Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
And I drew the lightning bolt because she was recently in a film called Jolt that I enjoyed. I watched an entire film of nothing but women-empowered films, action films specifically, and that was on the list of them where she has like an anger management issue and has all these like electrodes hooked up to her, and then like she gets like superpowered kind of kicking ass sort of thing.
I want superpowers.
It was decent, not like superpowers, but she gets like it's supposed to like calm down her anger issues, but like but she just gets, she's very violent in that film. It's very violent.
All right.
Anyway, this also stars one Mel Rado. Sounds like a small town in New Mexico.
I live in El Rado.
Exactly.
Texas.
He's also known for a film called Long Time Dead, which is the sequel to Short Time Alive. He was in a film called Death Do Us Part, and a film called Broken. That's it.
I feel like sometimes when you tell your jokes, they go like it. You do a good job of actually making it sound like not a joke.
What does that mean?
It's the sequel to Short Time Alive.
Yeah. Long Time Dead.
Hopefully people know that you're joking.
I would assume so.
Because you're saying it very matter-of-factly.
Oh, well, I mean, I put the boxes up on the posters up on the screen if there's an actual film involved. And then finally the stars one, Gerald McRaney, although I don't know that I would say he starred in it. He's the main antagonist, sort of. You may know him from 1,000 Men and a Baby, and that's not a joke.
See?
He was on Simon and Simon, which is what most of you who are my age will know him from. He was one of the Simons. And he was on Major Dad, which, again, if you are a kid of the 90s, you probably saw. I never watched it, but he was the dad in Major Dad.
Oh.
He was the main guy that
yes
was the dad.
Yes. Oh, yes. You'll know who he is.
Who had a lot of hammer time. So at this point in the conversation, I turn to my wife and she says,
"What'd you think?"
And we turn off the camera and we go do something else now. See you later. Like I said, it was the title was not wrong. It was disappointing.
Yeah. And I like Kate Beckinsale.
Yes.
And I like Major Dad.
Gerald McRaney. I really should not have my phone nearby.
I know. I was like, my phone's been making noises, and I apologize for that because I put it on.
Yeah, we
silent.
Almost always keep our phones away when we're recording because we don't want the distractions. So we apologize. This was a weird situation. That's unusual for us. Yeah, I like Gerald McRaney fine. Like the whole cast on paper should have worked, but I think it's just that the film itself, I don't know.
There.
It was supposed to be a horror movie. It was kind of a haunted house movie, kind of a ghost story. I mean, it's well shot. The music is good. It's very atmospheric. There's a lot of things in it that work, but the piece as a whole just, I don't know, something feels weird about it.
Yeah. It was a little boring.
And Gerald McRaney doesn't really play a good bad guy, even though he's not like directly a bad guy. He's kind of a ghost sort of figure that she's seeing the horrible things that he's done, and he's kind of interacting with her, but I don't think he ever actually physically hurts her, does he?
And she gets locked in the disappointments room.
Well, there's a point where he's attacking, or you think he's attacking, but it's actually like in her head.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of confusing.
Well, and that guy, isn't it like that guy that comes to help her repair stuff?
Oh, right. There's the kid that he's the actor. I should have put him on here. That actor is becoming kind of popular right now. He's got a new show that's on where he's really buff, and it's Fire something, like Fire Guy or Sexy Fireman or something. I don't know. It's a show about a guy who is a fireman of sorts, and he's all handsome. But anyway, he's in it, and he kind of becomes a fly in the ointment because he comes to help do repairs on the house, and he keeps hitting on her, and she's kind of like no, and then kind of starts to lean in a little bit,
smoking and stuff together.
Yeah, I don't think anything ever happens,
but doesn't he die?
Something bad happens to him. I don't remember, but
wasn't he like in a tree, like hung in a tree or something? Is that something different?
Oh no, that you're right. Yep.
Yeah.
Because they have a cat that they find, and the kid wants to take care of the cat, her child, and the cat gets out and gets hammered to death. And she finds the cat when they're looking for it and hides it from the kid because she doesn't want him to know the cat's been, murdered essentially. And then she asks the guy to go out, the construction guy to go out and
Bury
it for her so that, you know, she can keep her kid from finding out that just think the cat ran away or something. And yeah, he gets killed out in the forest by bad guy McCraney, I think. But it's
kind of vague.
You don't ever really like see him again. Like they see like a noose or something, and I think you see him pulled up briefly, but
and then there's like a grave or
kind
something.
of vague. Yeah, it's
kind of vague. It's like
the whole thing.
I don't know. I fell asleep during it.
Which, if you've seen the show before, you know that that's a bad sign for what's about to happen. Incidentally, I wrote here that the disappointment rooms were real places, and that reminded me of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, if you remember Ruprecht. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. I also wrote the words potty pills. You remember why I wrote the word potty pills? I think, didn't she was taking she had meds she was on for her behavioral health issues, and then she dumped them in the toilet.
Yes, and we were saying that the toilet's going to be all messed up now or something.
The toilet's going to be like super like mentally healthy, but she's now going to be, because they were to help with like her psychosis or something.
Yeah, because she had lost a baby.
Yeah, there was some reason she was taking them that was.
Oh, and then don't you find out that she actually killed the baby?
Are you getting confused with?
No.
Firstborn?
Nope.
Was that this movie?
Mm-hmm.
Good lord. Full disclosure, we watched this movie a little bit ago, before we got sick.
Because she almost hammered her kid.
And yeah, that's why I had the hammer here.
Yeah, it was a little girl that they had. She had a daughter or whatever, and she accidentally fell asleep on her and smothered her to death.
Was that?
Yes.
I'm getting the two movies confused because we watched them pretty close together. Oh, okay. I also wrote that there was a weird montage, and I was unsure why they decided to go with the weird montage, because the movie was a little short, I think, on time, and they did so many things in this montage that just it was like they were like, okay, we have all this footage, we're running out of time, we got to get it to under an hour and a half, so just cut it into a weird montage that doesn't really necessarily need to be there, and just get the exposition out of the way that way, and it just felt very forced. And I wrote, what's real? I said it's like Firstborn all over again, because there was a lot of kind of questioning reality.
Yeah.
Oh, here I wrote, what happened to Pretty Boy? I said, did he hang himself?
Mm-hmm.
Question mark, because you're not sure what is actually
happening or what's in her head, and like,
right.
Was he even there helping her? Like, you know,
or was Gerald McRaney actually the one that was causing it, or was she causing it and she was just creating that because she knew that the disappointments room was a thing and she felt like it was haunted, and so she was imagining the whole thing.
Yep. And she was on a lot of
medications.
So like antipsychotic kind of medications and stuff, because she was having so many problems, I think, coping with the loss of her daughter.
I also wrote, not enough happened to fill the notes, because normally I fill all the notes, but I had to write because I didn't. By the end of the movie, I didn't have enough to fill the notes.
Yeah, because it was kind of boring.
So, you know, Kate Beckinsale isn't always going to have all the best things on the planet, and Joe McRaney was probably happy to be working, and Mel Rado, you know, still sounds like it's a city in Texas. But yeah, I was underwhelmed, to say the least.
I was very underwhelmed. So on a scale of 0 or negative to 5, so on a scale of 5,
she's like really like
hammers.
She's like, hey, if you want to, you know, go lower.
Hammers.
Ham whams?
Hammers.
Hammers, not hamsters.
Not hamsters. What would you give it?
For the music, the cinematography, and the overall atmosphere, I'll give it a 1, but that's as far as I'm going.
Same.
And that, I feel, is very generous.
Yeah.
But we've seen some other films that didn't even have that aspect going for it, so...
Yep.
Give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, the production value is pretty good. Good actors and stuff.
Yeah, that's...
Just crappy story.
Sorry, Wentworth Miller. Please try to continue to write things, because, you know, apparently Stoker was good, so... You know,
well,
doing something right.
Yeah. Oh, Wentworth Miller's the person that wrote it.
That wrote Stoker, yeah.
No, like this movie.
He co-wrote it, yeah, with DJ Caruso.
Oh, that's right.
Who I don't think is related to David Caruso, the fantastic actor. You know that guy.
Okay.
Don't like him.
Maybe that is him, DJ Caruso.
Oh, it's like a pseudonym thing or whatever.
It's like I go by DJ when I'm
pen
writing
name.
movies with Kate Beckinsale in them.
He's like, I go by DJ.
Yeah.
You all know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Okay. And if you do, I'm sorry. Although Rob Zombie directed an episode of that. I watched that one episode, and I do not like David Caruso at all.
Yeah.
But I watched an episode of that show just because Rob Zombie directed it, and I was curious. I couldn't really, it wasn't really obvious that Rob directed it, to be honest.
But he did it.
But he did it.
So if they don't want to watch this movie.
Good enough.
This show. If you don't want to watch our show anymore.
No, I mean, no, I'm saying if you work on films, then they call it the show.
No, that's true.
A movie is called a show. It's not called a movie.
So if they don't want to watch this movie, what should they watch?
I had trouble with this because there's no other movie that I know of that features a disappointment room. So I had to go with a woman who's kind of questioning her reality. That is kind of a haunted house sort of movie. And I went back in time a little bit to 1963's The Haunting. Not the remake. Don't watch the remake. It's not good. And I like remakes, but it's garbage. We did a movie or a show on it not that long ago on my former podcast. But The Haunting is, brilliant little piece of cinema. And it is much more successful in doing what this was, I think, trying to do, but in 1963.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you've never seen it, check it out. Joel Bob says.
Joel Bob.
Check it out.
Mm-hmm. Joel Bob Jr.
Joel Bob Jr. I'm going to put my notes away now. Done with this.
All right.
Goodbye.
So, what are we watching next week?
Next week, by random. Oh, boy. There were no dogs injured in the making of this episode. So next week we are watching. Oh, it has a Canadian home video rating at the bottom. I've never had that before.
Weird.
All right, Dollar Tree, you're stepping it up. So we found this movie, and it was chosen at random, and I do not have a lot of hopes for this. This is from 2007. It is a retelling of yet another version of
Frankenstein.
And if you know us, you know that our whole
James
lives,
Purefoy.
James Purefoy is the one thing that's kind of holding together this boat. We are Frankenstein people. As you can see, Frankenstein. We have Frankenstein and bride tattoos. We have our whole bedroom has a whole theme. It's everywhere in this house is Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein. Well, Frankenstein's monster, or Frankenstein, the Dr. Frankenstein. But anyway, so when I saw this, I didn't even care because I'm sure it's not going to be fantastic, but I had to pick it up because of what it was.
It's a modern retelling. So it says, Fear is Reborn. Helen McCrory, she's from Skyfall and Peaky Blinders, stars alongside James Purefoy from Rome, and he was also in The Fall, right?
Following, you mean?
Following, yeah.
Which, if you've never seen The Following, holy crap.
I love that
Go watch
show.
that show. Holy crap, it's good. Anyway.
And Neil Pearson from Bridget Jones's Diary. In this modern retelling of Mary Shelley's classic Gothic masterpiece. Desperate to save her dying son, medical researcher Victoria Frankenstein
Gender swap.
secretly introduces his DNA into her maverick work on replacement body parts, inadvertently creating life itself. From a heartbeat in a tank full of gore grows a monstrous subhuman creature which challenges all our assumptions about genetic research and the meaning of life in the 21st century.
Huh.
Interesting.
That's the whole synopsis?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it sounds like it's a little bit of an interesting twist. I thought James Purefoy was going to be playing Dr. Frankenstein.
It's PG.
Well, that's the Canadian certification.
I'm sure it's probably PG here also.
Or are you reading just the sticker, or does it actually say PG on the actual?
Just PG on the sticker.
Oh. I mean, the ratings systems overseas are different because they're a little bit more lax with the.
It's not overseas, dear.
Stuff. It's across the border. It's our northern neighbors. We love you, Canada.
It's not across the sea.
But it's outside
You
of
can
the
drive
country.
there.
I've been there. I've been up and down.
Across the sea.
I've been to Canada one side and the other and
There's
back
some
again
lakes
twice.
that you have to go through sometimes.
and it's beautiful. I love Canada, but you know what I mean.
Benedict Wong. That name sounds
Oh,
familiar.
you know Benedict Wong, Doctor Strange.
That's what I thought.
He's Sorcerer Supreme.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
that's
Benedict
what I
Wong.
thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the current Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, I was like, I know that name.
Oh yeah,
He's
You
in
know-
it.
You know him. Yep, he's in it. I
All
forgot.
right.
I looked
I'm
up
excited
to
about the
do my
people.
notes.
There's some good people in it.
I just am very apprehensive about the fact that anytime you retell a classic film like that or a classic story, you're always going to compare it to the James Whale original with Boris Karloff. You know,
can't. This is a completely different
But-
retelling of it.
I mean, people like the one with Robert De Niro was okay. I've not seen
That's
The Bride
more
with Jennifer
like
Garner
that's
yet,
more
but
attuned to the actual novel too.
That's what I'm saying is, but you get used
ends
to a
and
certain
stuff.
version of it.
Yeah, of course.
That sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and that's why a lot of people say remakes are bad because they're like, I want my cheeseburger to be this way.
Well, technically, the movie from James Whale is a remake because he's retelling the story what he thought that Mary Shelley's.
And there was also a short film, 10-minute film, Frankenstein from 1921 or 1910, I forget, 1912. There's an earlier version of Frankenstein prior to the James Whale film. So technically, the James Whale film is a remake of the original film, which was a shorter version of the book.
Yep.
So everybody who
Interesting.
complains about remakes, the arguments are invalid.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
It's, art imitating art.
It's like a song, How many versions of It's Beginning to Look like Christmas are there?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot.
Or any number of songs out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
Yep.
Why isn't it okay to remake a movie?
Exactly. All right. Well, if they want to find us, where can they find us?
At thenewlydads.com. Check out our website. So New Year is now upon us. For those of you who are watching this is next week, so the New Year will have happened. Look for things for us to be continuing, but perhaps some changes here and there. And we're about to be coming up on our first year of broadcasting here on Tingler Television. It's
Yeah.
coming up
Thank you,
fast.
Tingler.
Thank you for watching, all of you.
You give
around
me the
there.
tingles.
Ooh.
In a good way.
All right.
Fine,
On that
Tingler.
note, we will see you all next week for another episode of Dollar Store Drive-In. I'm Joel.
I'm Laura, and thanks for watching. And until next week,
Keep it cheap and creepy. I almost messed it up.
bye.
Go look after your mother and sister. Where are you going? I'm gonna finish this. Goodbye, Tom.
Drive away your worries and cares at this drive-in theater, where you will see the finest motion pictures of all time, soon to be released. Drama, comedy, adventure, excitement, something for everyone. Here's a brief glimpse of some of the truly fine pictures we've scheduled in the near future.
If you have nerve enough, come down these stairs with me to the Black Museum. And if you dare, look around this chamber of horrors. You will see the lethal possessions of a man possessed with murder.
New sensation! Killer strikes again!
We have to tell you the story of a man whose hobby is murder. A killer who held London in terror. Here was a modern Jekyll and Hyde who killed so that he could write with relish about his victims and his crimes.
Clever. Fiendishly clever. Ingenious enough to give us the third brutal murder in 2 weeks.
Aren't these similar to the pair you have in your Black Museum?
Starring Michael Gough, a killer who shopped for his weapons in London's backstreet antique shops. June Cunningham, the blonde who got to know him too well and talked too much.
You thief!
Oh, come on, dearie. Show me how fast you can chase him around the room now.
Give me back my cane!
Not until I've told you everything. Been saving it up for you. Without your cane, you're only half a man. And without your money, you'd be no man at all.
Graham Kerno, boy hypnotized into obeying his master's murderous voice. Shirley Anfield, innocent victim of young love, enticed into the nightmare horror of the Black Museum.
Wait! Why did you bring a stranger down here, you stupid fool? You know I never allow any outsider to snoop round my workshop. This Black Museum is our private world. And now, thanks to you, it has been invaded.
There he goes!
At this lonely crossroad in the Carpathian Mountains, 4 travelers find themselves abandoned at nightfall by a local coach driver who was afraid to go any further.
There's no driver.
A coach with horses that knew the way, a table laid for 4. Was this kindly hospitality?
Isn't your master joining us for dinner?
No, sir. I'm afraid not.
Is he indisposed?
He's dead.
Why should a dead man be interested in entertaining guests? Dracula, Prince of Darkness, King of the Vampires. For 10 years, his mortal remains were cherished by his faithful servant, awaiting the opportunity and a victim to provide the life force for the reincarnation of Dracula. A strange premonition warns the guests at Castle Dracula that their host is ready to receive them.
I must kill him. He is already dead. He is undead, Mr. Kent. He can be destroyed, but not killed.
You don't need Charles.
Is bound for a terrifying destination. Dead. But no corpse can remain at peace in this village of the undead, this land of the zombies. In this place, no one is safe. No one can hide from witchcraft, superstition, and fear. Even Sir James Forbes, the clear-headed man of science, was forced to accept the horrifying facts.
Young Martinus also says that he saw something on the moors, something that he insists was his brother. But we know that his brother is dead. We also know that he is not lying in his coffin. Someone in this village is practicing witchcraft.
That corpse wandering on the moors is an undead, a zombie.
A place dominated by men without morals, whose bloodlusts are excited by hunting a human quarry. When Sylvia Forbes hated the young squire, it was dangerous. But when she fell in love with him, it was lethal.
Aged a day, 20 years. But do you know that one does not survive? And 7 are mental cases.
Top war criminals frozen alive at the height of their power, waiting for the moment when science will free them from their icy tombs to take vengeance against the world. And that moment is now.
Is there anything you require? Yes. Impossible. A live brain.
Another victim sacrificed to feed the inhuman needs of the frozen dead. Starring Dana Andrews as the scientist who tries in vain to wash the blood from his hand.
Mad. All of you.
Network of murderers dedicated to a monstrous project. Beware the icy stare of the frozen dead.
Do your eyes dare witness total terror? Frankenstein meets the Space Monster.
All recorders to fast.
This is it. For the first time on the screen, America's missile might mobilized against annihilating invaders from outer space.
We have come here to this planet for one purpose only, to acquire breeding stock to repopulate our planet.
See the kidnapping of the Earth Maidens for the love-starved slaves of the sterile planet.
Very good. We have done well, Nadia.
I am pleased, Princess. You are satisfied.
I will be satisfied when we have enough more like her to commence phase 3.
See the terrifying invasion of the Beach Party. See a United States astro robot become a creature of death. For the first time, see Earth horror versus space terror. See Frankenstein meets the Space Monster in Futurama.
pure adventure and excitement to stagger the imagination. The fantastic fire monsters raging out of the flaming bowels of hell. Mighty Gigantus, crushing whole cities in its wrath. And deadly Anguirus, screaming its challenge of mortal combat. The Battle of the Ages, scenes and sights and sensations beyond anything the screen has ever shown.
I'm Chili Dilly, the personality pickle. Packed in a jar for the freshest flavor. Served cold in a sack for you to savor. So dainty to eat, no muss, no fuss. An ideal snack for all of us. Crisp, tender, and tasty with a bit of spice. Buy one now. Taste how nice. Snack bar clerks will knock themselves silly, speeding your order for a real Chili Dilly.
Hi. You hungry? Looking for a tempting treat? Hold on till I absorb some heat. Some added tang might please you too. I'll slide into an oven-fresh bun, and I'm ready for your eating fun.
Why don't you try a juicy good hot dog? Delicious.
Wouldn't some hot buttered popcorn hit the spot right now? Extra fluffy, extra big kernels of it popped to perfection. Then drenched with the golden goodness of pure sweet creamery butter. Can't you just taste it? We heat the container extra high, but you better buy 2 more for the rest of the family. Piping hot, golden buttered popcorn at the refreshment center right now.
It's intermission. Rise and stretch time. Time to refresh yourself and visit our snack bar. Got a yen for hot popcorn? Your favorite soft drinks are sparkling cold. The juicy Frank sizzling hot. There's delicious coffee, freshly brewed, and all kinds of ice cream and candy to tempt you. Showtime will be announced loud and clear to get you back to your car in time. So stretch your legs. Come to the snack bar now.
Good morning.
It's a damn strange business, Tom. A man literally shredded to death right in the heart of London.
That's the last one.
Bats appearing out of nowhere. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. Ooh, they're nasty-looking little blighters, aren't they?
Seen them in Mandalay. Suck your throat dry, they were.
Yeah, well, that's where they belong, in the tropics. I mean, not here, not in a place like this. Yes, all right, thank you very much. Take them all off to the laboratory, would you?
Right, sir.
And have them double-checked for rabies.
Yes, sir.
Now, Morgan.
Yes, sir?
Where the hell are you?
On my beer, sir.
Oh, so you are. When you've finished up there, I want you to question the butler again. There may be something he's overlooked.
Very good, sir. Remember when you were in Scotland, the beginning of last week?
Yes?
Well, there was another surgeon who died. A Dr. Thornton.
What about him?
It was more the way he died. Just reminded me of it. He was stung to death by bees in his library.
Bees in his library?
That's right. Before we arrived, the whole place must have been swarming with them. I've got the file on my desk now. You should have seen his face. The whole flesh was a mass of, well, boils.
Boils?
All over. Stings, I suppose.
Oh.
I wonder if there is a connection.
Well, I'll go through the file. God knows what we've got. 2 doctors, both dead. Oh, don't take him out like that. At least cover his face up. What's left of it?
Good God. Nobody told me this was a masked affair. For me. How very elegant. But, my dear fellow, it's beautiful. I say, jolly fine party, what? Don't believe we've met. My name's Hargraves. Dr. Hargraves. I'm a psychiatrist, actually. Head shrinker. I say, would you oblige some fancy catch? Much obliged. Now, point me towards the ladies. That's you, Frida. Must be jolly tight.
Absolutely not. We're short-staffed as it is, and you want me to give you more men to go charging off on one of your half-baked theories? It's ridiculous. Anyway, medical men die every day.
I'm aware of that, sir.
Good. They're composed of the same flesh and blood as you and I.
I'm aware of that, too, sir. I happen to have seen rather a lot of their flesh and blood in the past few days. And another thing. Suppose the press get hold of this.
Don't you talk to me about the press, Trout. You keep any ideas you've got to yourself on that one. Mention this to the press, and you'll know as well as I do. Given half a chance, they'd whip up a panic story overnight. The whole damn place would be in an uproar.
It was not my intention.
And it's certainly not mine. I want no statements. Can you imagine what they'd make of bats, bees, and what?
Frogs.
Exactly. Why don't you go and reread Aesop's fables? And perhaps next time you come to me with a rather more pertinent theory. That's all, Trout.
Look, 3 men have died, sir. All in the medical profession. Does that not suggest...
No, it damn well doesn't. There's some very strange people practicing medicine these days.
Dr. Longstead.
Oh. Mr. Frawley.
I'm off.
You're what?
Off.
Oh, yes, yes.
You're sure you don't mind me having the evening off?
No, I shall rather enjoy it. I mean, have a good time.
I've got you some cold brawn.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
I won't be back late. I'll be back before midnight.
You don't have to hurry. You won't turn into a pumpkin. You don't know that? Mrs. Frawley.
Dr. Longstreet, we are naughty, aren't we?
Well,
we haven't touched our supper, have we?
Oh.
And what is this?
This? What's this? Well, it's oh, I see what you mean. Oh, yes. It's a new thing on the market. It keeps out drafts. Why Dr. Longstreet, you know? Who's this?
How did it go, eh?
It didn't. It came to a great grinding halt, if you want to know. All he's worried about is the press.
Well, they've been on, of course.
And?
I've killed it, don't worry, we're playing it all down. I'm sitting on the lab reports.
I don't care what the old man says, Tom. There is a pattern here, the most definite pattern. Is there anything in there?
Well, I've been to the whole lot, correspondence, family, all that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, what does it tell us?
Well, they have one thing in common.
If you say they all died mysteriously, I'll bloody kill you.
Vesalius.
What?
Dr. Vesalius.
It's a funny name. Who the hell's he?
Well, they all worked for him at some time. And judging by the correspondence here, we're fairly close associates.
Good, good, yes. What else?
Nothing.
Nothing. I see. You mean to say that after 24 hours diligent research, that is all you have been able to discover? Well, do we have an address for this man?
An address?
Oh, damn it all, Tom. Where does he live?
This way. He's through here, sir.
I see. Thank you very much.
Father. Father, there's someone to see you.
Inspector Trout.
From Scotland Yard.
Detective Inspector. Good evening, sir. I'm sorry to intrude like this, sir, but it is a very urgent matter. And I thought perhaps you might be of some assistance to us, sir.
How?
Three men in your profession have all died in the past week in most unusual circumstances.
Inspector, men in my profession die every day. You have your foot on my pliers.
I'm sorry, sir.
Thank you.
Do the names Hargreaves, Thornton, and Dunwoody mean anything to you, sir?
Hard to believe.
I'm sure of that, sir, but can you think of anything? Anything at all that would relate to the killing of these three men?
Nothing. Nothing. Last week I was talking to Thornton. Hello. Yes, he is. It's for you.
Thank you. Hello, Trout. I see. Where's that?
Yes, all right. 10 minutes. Did you know Dr. Longstreet? You heard a what?
Well, a violin or a cello or something.
At 2:30 in the morning, woman?
Yes.
In the street?
Yes, I told you. Oh, don't keep on at me.
I'm sorry.
Like I said, I heard it. Then there was this car door banging. Well, I couldn't get off to sleep, so I came down to find some aspirins. The door was open a bit, and as I looked through, there he was. And then I rang for you lot.
Well, that's all?
Well, that's enough for one night. I mean, look at him, all white and everything.
There's nothing except this. And, that.
Ah, now. Do you recognize this, madam? Fingerprints.
No, it's not mine. And it's certainly not his.
Well, thank you, madam. That's all for the moment. You may go. We'll come back in the morning and take a full statement from you. Thank you, Mrs.
Frawley.
Thank you, Mrs. Frawley.
Oh, he was a nice man. Good to me, he was in his own sort of way.
Yeah. You were his housekeeper?
Whoever did it must have been a real pro. He's as dry as a bone.
That is his bone. Poor devil, I bet he was still conscious when it happened.
Do you think it can be the same?
Oh, I don't think anymore, Tom. This is the object in question, sir.
Oh, dear me, you've broken it.
What's that?
It really is incredible, the amount of vandalism that there is around these days. I mean, I make something like this, a thing of beauty and a joy forever. And the
you
first
did make
thing
it, sir?
Yes, of course I made it.
I wish to establish that, sir. Yes.
Yes, certainly I did. That's my mark on the back there.
Good, thank you. Now, can you tell me a little bit about it, please, sir?
Yes, certainly. It's one of a very unusual set, this.
A set?
Yes.
There's more than one?
Of course there's more than one. It's a set.
Yes, well, how many in the set, sir?
10.
10?
10.
Yes, I see. Were they all the same?
Of course they weren't all the same. You want 10 amulets looking exactly the same? Each of them had a different symbol.
I see. Well, who ordered the set?
It's a lady.
Oh, a woman, eh?
No. A lady. Yes, I remember the occasion well. She came in here, she gave me a set of working drawings. She paid half the cost there and then in cash, and the other half later. When she returned for them, she was absolutely delighted with them, as well she might be. That's beautiful craftsmanship, you know. You don't often get craftsmanship like that nowadays. Could I take another look at it?
One more question, if I might say.
Yes?
What did she look like?
Well, she was a tall, attractive, young lady.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't speak much, as I remember, but she was,
smart, sir?
Fashionable.
Ah, yes, sir. Can you tell me anything else about her, sir?
No, I don't think so. Aren't you going to write down fashionable?
I think I can remember that, sir.
Oh, good. No, as a matter of fact, she didn't stay very long. And then, of course, there was the money to be counted.
Yes. Well, thank you very much indeed, sir. You've been a great
help.
Yes. I'm sorry to take up so much of your valuable time.
Reasonably valuable, yes, it certainly is.
Good day, sir.
Good day, Inspector Pike.
Trout, sir.
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, by the way,
sir,
that sign, that mark on the amulet, I don't know whether this is of any assistance, but it is, I believe, Hebrew.
Thank you very much, sir.
Hebrew.
Oh, this is it, sir.
It's a Hebrew symbol for blood.
Oh, I see.
Part of the Ketach.
The what, sir?
The Ketach. The 10 curses visited upon the pharaohs before Exodus. Here, I'll show you.
Thank you, sir.
They were all ancient maledictions, solemn curses, anathemas, wished upon the pharaohs for keeping the Israelites in bondage. Ah, here it is.
But all this would just be myth, of course, sir.
Oh, I think not.
No?
No. There is little doubt that the plagues did occur, though so distant now as to seem a myth.
I see. Well, what form would the curses take, sir?
Oh, such as the curse of boils, of bats.
Frogs?
Frogs, yes. And the curse of blood.
I see, sir. Yes, I see. These 10 curses, would they follow any particular order?
That is a point that Talmudic scholars have debated for generations. But there is no doubt that the classical tradition is the curse of boils, bats, frogs, the curse of blood, the curse of rats, hail, beasts, the locust, of course, the death of the firstborn, and then, finally, of darkness.
Darkness, Rabbi?
Yes. The final curse upon the land, to end forever the sleep of man.
I have prepared a little mathematical equation for you, Inspector. These files represent all of the surgical cases on which I've served over a decade, some 1,200. As you know, modern surgery is all a matter of teamwork, sometimes requiring the services of, a dozen or more people, interns, residents, other specialists.
Quite so, sir.
Now, ruling out all the cases that are over 5 years old, the Dr. Dunwoody, our bat victim, resumed his practice in London. That leaves us 37 cases on which I worked with any 2 of the 4 now dead men. A scant dozen with 3, but only 1. Just 1 case where I worked with all of them.
Victoria Regina Phibes.
I think they called it Phibes.
Victoria Regina Phibes, born November the 27th, 1893. Married, no children. Diagnosis, immediate radical resection. Well, what happened?
We were too late.
9 killed you. 9 shall die and be returned your loss. 9 times 9. 9 killed you. 9 shall die. 9 eternities in doom.
Very attractive.
Quite beautiful. A strange presence, even in death.
And the husband?
Dr. Anton Phibes. He was in Switzerland. We cabled him. But as he raced back, his car went off the cliff and he was burned to death.
You quite sure of that, sir?
I know it must be a tempting theory for you, Inspector, but they were interred at the same time in the family vault just outside of London.
Were they fond of each other?
Well, it seems so. Completely devoted.
Of course, you realize, don't you, what your equation proves? Someone, some madman, has condemned the whole surgical team for her death. I mean, everybody in this list here, including yourself.
Obviously, you're going to put the remaining people involved under police protection. Mm-hmm. Although, Heaven knows. From what?
From the Gatak, sir, if you know what that is.
Isn't that the curse of the pharaohs?
That's right, sir, quite right. Someone is using these ancient biblical curses to kill everyone associated with the Fives operation. But, I mean, the husband's dead. There's no children. It all happened ages ago. So who the hell are we looking for?
There's a young lady in a spot of trouble, Benson. See if you can help her out.
Hello? What have we got here? Ah, needing some help, miss?
Hail, rats, beast, locust. Take your pick. Oh, there's death of the firstborn and, of course, darkness.
Darkness?
Yes, darkness.
Coffee.
Thank you. On this list of Vesalius, there are 5 people who are in danger.
There's Hedgepath.
Kitaj.
No, it's pronounced Kitai.
Whitcomb, the woman nurse Allen, and Vesalius himself. I've located everybody else, but so far we can't find Kitaya. We think he's somewhere in Europe.
What about the Fives estate in Switzerland?
Well, the insurance and bank accounts were closed after his death was reported.
So his money's still over there?
No, 2 years ago, the bulk of the money was transferred here to England.
To whose account?
I don't know. But later it was withdrawn by a woman in cash. In fact, the whole estate was transferred into her name.
A woman? She tall, attractive, hardly speaks a word.
Right.
Oh, now I'm very interested in her.
It's 2:45. There's no one in the place except you and me. So set 'em up, Joe. I've got a little story I think you ought to know. We're drinking, my friend, to the end of a brief episode. So make it one for my baby and another one for the road.
It's over here, Inspector. We found him sitting off to the side of the road, sir. He's quite out of it, I'm afraid. It's shock. You won't get much out of him, poor devil.
Well, what happened to him? Yeah, I see. Is that the car?
Yes, sir. We traced the owner, sir. It's a man called Hedgepath.
Dr. Hedgepath. Well, what's all this?
He's in the back, sir. It's frozen solid.
A curse of hail in the bloody middle of nowhere.
Take a look at this here. He worked it off the motor. He brought the internal temperature down to at least 100 degrees below zero. Mercifully, he didn't feel much, sir.
Like hell he didn't.
Check. Check.
Oh. Well done. Up to bed.
It's not made, Father. You can still move.
Oh, well, we'll finish tomorrow then. Up you go.
You wouldn't like to hear some...
I'm afraid I'm not very good company tonight. You read a little.
I must play to you tomorrow. Old Darrow put me onto it. It's a super piece.
Darrow?
You know, the chap at the music shop. I always thought he was such a bore. But what a fantastic memory he's got. Get him talking about the great organists, Bridges, Drew, and Fives. He knew them all. Anyway, night, Dad.
Good night.
Mr. Darrow. Mr. Darrow, did you know this man? Excuse me, Mr. Darrow. Did you know this man?
Sixpence.
Yes, but did you know him?
God knows what the old chap meant.
He couldn't tell you anything else.
He kept insisting in his strange way that Fives has been his patron for years.
And still is. He didn't tell you what he looks like.
He's blind as a... Well, he can hardly see at all.
Well, he might not be able to see, but there's something I very much want to have a look at. May I use your phone?
Oh, what do you expect to find here?
I don't know exactly, sir, but we've drawn a blank everywhere else.
Fools. Fools. They'll have the worms soon enough.
What happened to the money, the Fives estate?
Oh, that's an immensely complicated matter, sir. It seems he had money invested all over Europe, but we're still investigating that, sir.
Where did he get all those degrees?
Oh, no, I can tell you, sir. He took a degree in music in Germany at Heidelberg, and another one in Paris at the...
Sorbonne?
Yes. Now, that was a PhD in theology.
Theology? That rather neatly explains his knowledge of the Old Testament.
The guitar, sir.
Open up, please.
Does anyone ever visit this place?
Well, someone has.
Are you sure that... Well, here he is, Anton Fives.
Right next to his wife. Let's take a look.
Notice that smell.
Roses?
Oh, more like formaldehyde.
On your fingers.
Careful. There. Ashes. Anton Fives. Now are you satisfied?
Well, I'm not sure I am, really, sir. Now, just think a minute. All this proves is that somebody was incinerated in that car crash. Well, the Swiss police have told us that already.
Exactly.
But suppose, for the sake of argument, that that somebody was not Fives at all, but his chauffeur.
And Fives is back in London?
Just like the old man told you.
She was not incinerated. Let's have a look at her.
My love, my sweet queen, my noble wife, severed too quickly, too cruelly from this life. I remain and suffer to bring delivery of your pain, of fires drawn and of memories met. Soon we shall hold our two precious hearts in single time.
This one here, Kitai, or however you pronounce it. Shen is on his way down there.
Yes, sir.
Crow, I've been looking for you. Now, this is most unsettling. Thank God the newspapers have been slow in picking up these stories so far.
Well, we've managed to withhold most
Now,
of
I don't
them,
propose to go into the seriousness of this, Crow, but if the press do get hold of this...
We'd have a disaster on our hands.
What the hell do you think we got at the moment? Now, if we don't handle this with kid gloves, there'll be questions in the House. This whole thing's a political time bomb, you realize that? We're all of us as vulnerable as hell. Especially me.
The men are working as hard as they can.
Well, it's not hard enough. Now, Crow, you can't stare to me. And you? What's your name?
Trout, sir.
Oh, Trout. Oh, what the hell you're doing standing there? Where's your jacket? Now, you get out there with the rest of them. There's a madman out there, and I want him brought in. Here. Now. Hand it out, Crow. I'm not always going to satisfy with the administrative procedure on that case last week.
All right, Harry.
Okay.
Okay, Dr. Kitai. Brakes on.
Brakes on.
Throttle closed.
Throttle closed.
Switches off.
Switches off.
Throttle set.
Throttle set.
Contact.
Contact.
Well, you should have driven faster.
Faster? As it was, I got there a couple of minutes before the locals.
Yeah, but 2 minutes after the crash.
I was going over 90 miles an hour through the outskirts of the town. I thought the damn thing was going to explode a couple of times.
Yeah. Whose car is it, by the way?
Well, God knows. When we got the call about Kitai, I came down into the yard and got the fastest car I could see.
But I mean, it is one of ours.
Well, it must be. There's a police book in the front.
Uh-huh.
It's going to need a damn good service now, though. A couple of the oil seals have gone.
Hey, you! What's your name? Pike?
Trout, sir.
Where's my car been moved?
Is it your car, sir?
Well, of course it's my car. It's a very sophisticated piece of machinery. It's not to be moved at all, not even pushed. Do you understand?
Perfectly, sir.
The engine's not running yet. Have we located this fellow Kitaj yet?
Pronounced Kitai, sir. Well, that's a bit of a long story, so I wanted to talk to you about him. You see, the fact is that...
I'll expect your report in the morning. I can't wait now. Oh, I say! Any more news on this fellow Phoebes?
Fives, sir?
Are you in the habit of contradicting your superiors, Bream?
Well, we are on to him, sir.
But where are you concentrating the search? I mean, where was he last seen?
Highgate, sir.
Highgate? Good. Whereabouts?
Well, the cemetery, sir.
The cemetery?
Yes, sir, that's where he's buried.
Good. Well done, Perch.
and this nurse.
Nurse Allen?
Yes.
Yes, I've got men all around the hospital.
Desarius?
I've got him covered, too.
And that just leaves that fellow...
Dr. Whitcomb?
Dr. Wickham.
Well, we're going to take him off to the country for a few days if you'll come with us.
If you'll come with us?
I appreciate your concern, Sergeant, but you must understand that I owe it to my patients to be back in London within the week.
Of course, Doctor, I guarantee we'll have you back here within a few days. Let me take that, sir.
Inspector Trouser?
I must say I feel rather like a head of state.
Careful, son. Easy does it. I think it's a left-hand thread. Yes, it is. It's coming. Yeah.
Gentlemen, can't we have a little quiet in this club?
It's brass. He's cast the thing in bloody brass.
It appears to have been fired by a catapult, sir.
Oh, brilliant.
Where can we find two better hemispheres without sharp north, without declining west? My face in thine eye, thine in mine appears, and true plain hearts do in thee faces rest. Within 24 hours, my work will be finished, and then, my precious jewel, I will join you in your setting. We shall be reunited forever in a secluded corner of the great Elysian field of the beautiful beyond.
70 men are active on this case, trying to find a man who, according to you, has been buried once.
It's one of Trout's theories, sir.
Well, I don't know about Trout's theories, but I had a belly full of Trout's practice. I'm talking about you.
Sir.
Now, it seems to me that with immaculate precision, you've been arriving on the scene just after the victim's death. At this time, due no doubt to some organizational oversight, you arrived there before the crime. But, as I've come to expect from you two, that made little difference. It was still committed. A brass unicorn has been catapulted across a London street and impaled an eminent surgeon. Words fail me, gentlemen.
Yes, excuse me, sir.
Where are you off to now, Trout?
The lavatory, sir.
Highly appropriate.
Evening, Constable.
Sir?
Everything quite normal?
Nothing to report, sir.
Good. The whole place is completely sealed. It's as simple as that.
Simplicity isn't exactly the word I'd use in dealing with this man, Inspector.
I've got half the yard, sir, plus some of the local boys and a small mobile unit here. I've got cars all round the place, here, here, and here, and, of course, some plainclothes men. So, unless he drops in on us from above in a balloon, which I wouldn't put past him, she should be safe.
But supposing he's in the building already.
I hope he is. Because if he's in, he can't get out. And we've got him.
After all, he has killed 7 people in the last 14 days.
Dr. Vesalius. What on earth are you doing here? You're not involved in this charade,
I am afraid I am, nurse.
Doctor, these men have told me that I must not leave the hospital building.
But for
Now,
your
why
own-
me?
Oh.
Surely that's not right.
Nurse Allen,
Just
please.
what is going on here?
Please, miss, if you'd be so good as to go to your room, we'll have your supper sent up to you.
I've already eaten, thank you, officer. Now, Dr.
Inspector
Vesalius.
Trout is doing his best. Now, please, you must go to your room and stay there for at least 24 hours. Now, don't say a word, please. I know just what your feelings are. Please come. The police have reason to believe.
And just what do the police have reason to believe, Doctor?
Do you remember assisting me in an operation 4 years ago?
Yes.
Well, in connection with that, the police have reason to believe that a man is going to try to kill you.
Kill me?
Yes, within a few hours. I'm sorry.
I don't know how you expect me to sleep with all this going on, Doctor.
I suggest you take a sleeping pill. Good night.
Good night.
There is one aspect of this situation we have not yet explored.
Oh, don't worry about it, sir. Sooner or later, he's going to get stopped by the oldest snag of all, human error.
No, human error won't stop him.
Why? What do you mean?
He's had years to hide, to plot this damnable thing. He's compelling himself to follow exactly the classic death pattern of the guitar. It's a psychic force that holds a man together, this maniacal precision. If we could just throw it off, interrupt the cycle, then he might be stopped by his own inflexible standards.
3 curses left. Yes. Of course, the thought does occur, if you'll pardon the liberty, sir, that it could be your turn tonight.
I've considered that. I have a feeling he's saving something special for me, that I'll be last. After all, I was chief surgeon on the case.
Yes, well, if he keeps to the classic pattern, it should be the darkness for you, sir, though heaven knows what that could be. Have you considered the death of the firstborn, sir?
Well, the fact that my older brother is dead should surely exclude me from that particular curse.
Well, you must just resign yourself to the fact that I'm going to remain by your side until we apprehend this man.
Thank you.
Not at all, sir. What about your firstborn? Stanley! Get 2 cars, take the doctor home, put a guard round his house, alert the local division, and report back here. Sergeant McTexter.
The back door was hanging off. The lock had been forced. Bit of a struggle upstairs by the look of it. All the lad's been taken, all right.
Stay here with Vesalius. I'll get back to Trout.
Poor little devil.
The boy's gone.
Oh, no. Any sign of Fibes?
No, not at all.
Well, we'll check on Nurse Allen and then we'll get over there. How's he taking it?
Vesalius? You can imagine.
Yeah. Open it. Slowly.
Soon, Victoria. Soon, but one world to possess. There to love and sleep again. In our own eternal paradise.
We're doing everything we can, sir. Perhaps a little brandy might help.
There must have been something I could have done to prevent this. Hello. Who's there?
that you, Fibes? Fibes? Fibes?
8 have died, soon to be 9. 9 eternities in doom.
Fibes, I must see you. Where are you, Fibes? I must speak. Fibes, where is my son, Fibes?
The organ plays till midnight. The large house in Maldine Square. Come alone.
I'm going alone. Perhaps he'll trade my life for my son's.
If you think you can reason with him, then you're as mad as he is. Oh, no, we're coming with you. We'll break the place open.
Your men have made very little contribution to this ghastly affair. Their presence there could only accelerate the death of my son.
I'm sorry, sir, but I cannot allow you to go there alone.
My son's
We
life
shall
is
take
at
every
stake.
possible precaution, sir, but I cannot allow you to go there alone. I'm prepared to use force if necessary. I'm very sorry, sir, but you are my responsibility.
All right, Trout. I'll do whatever you say. At least it's time for me to make a telephone call, I hope.
If you're quick, sir, yes. Your brandy.
I'm sorry, too, Trout.
Evening, Dr. Vesalius.
I have come for my son.
He will die at midnight.
If you must take a life, take mine.
I will have killed 9 times in my life, Dr. Vesalius. How many murders can be attributed to you?
None. I did not kill your wife.
No?
I tried to save her.
With a knife in your hand, Doctor, I have no faith in your profession. I was told after my crash that I would never speak again. The doctors were, of course, wrong. For as you see and can hear, I have used my knowledge of music and acoustics to recreate my voice.
You don't have to remind me of your ingenuity, Dr. Fibes. Where is my son?
May I give you one final reminder, Dr. Vesalius? You will see your son under circumstances which may bring back memories to you.
What is it you want?
The skill of your hands, Doctor. I am giving your son the same chance that my wife had. You need not be alarmed. He has already been anesthetized.
Your wife, no, Fibes. But you I will kill.
But you can't, Doctor. I am already dead. Your son needs you.
Sergeant!
Are you receiving me, Vesalius? That is an X-ray of your son's rib cage. You will see from it that a tiny key has been lodged close to his heart. It will unlock the halter around your son's neck and will free the trolley. If you are wondering why you need to free the operating table, then I suggest you look above his head, Doctor. In a few moments, acid will be released into that tube. It will creep down, slowly, inexorably. It will take 6 minutes to reach the outlet over his face. Exactly 6 minutes, Doctor.
God's sake.
Don't cry upon God, Dr. Vesalius. He is on my side. He led me, showed me the way in my quest for vengeance. Not to God, Doctor. Look to yourself. Those hands, those skilled hands of yours. You can be his only salvation. Look above your son, Doctor. Unavia, my work is nearly finished. Go now. Destroy all I have created. Work faster, Doctor. The acid is descending. My wife existed only 6 minutes on the operating table, and then she was dead. You murdered her.
No.
Murdered her. But he will have what she did not. A second chance. him, he will have a face like mine.
Follow me, men.
Vesalius, is the boy all right?
Yes.
Turn that damn thing off.
We'll need an ambulance for them.
Well, what about... Oh. Right. Two of you, get downstairs and bring that boy up here. The rest of you, keep searching the house. We have got to find Fives. But where the hell is he? Where the devil did this come from?
Well, what comes out must go down.
Brilliant. No, don't touch it, sir. Much better leave it to us. Never know, it could be a trap.
He's gone. Vanished. That's bloody impossible.
That still leaves the final curse.
Darkness.
Well, he'll be working on it. Wherever he is.